going to try something a little different. Instead of this page item has children, as I look at my code, one of the problems is when I hover, I see all these extra ones. But when I look at the developer tool, I realize that, I put the button after the hyperlink, but what if I put it before the UL with the class of children? Let's see if that has any better response. So instead of after, it's before. And instead of all this, it's just ul.children. I misspelled it. There. Let's see if that works any better. Still should be in the same location. Yeah, there we go. And then when I hover over this one, there's one for this nested. So at this point, there's only one for every nested list of links. So we're getting better. Now it's just all about styling them and getting that toggle button to hide or unhide. And so you see right now it's not doing anything. I'm having all these issues where I'm hovering, and I really don't want the hover effects here. I want to have it where I have to actually click it instead of hovering. But I do want the hover effect when I'm on a wider screen, and I don't want those buttons here. So we've got a little bit of work cut out for us. But the first thing we're going to do is any of our CSS that has hover effects, we put that in the mobile first area. We need to pull those out of the mobile first, and we need to move it to the responsive area. So I'm going to cut that out, entirely cut it out. I'm going to move it into, we have our hide responsive toggle. I'm going to put it right. I think here's where we can start doing the hover effects. Save our changes, see if that works. Hit refresh. I know we still have those buttons. Let's go more narrow. Expands. Okay, we have the buttons. The hovering is not working. And that's fine. That's what I wanted. And we have these buttons now. So now we just have to figure out how to program the buttons. And then, of course, we'll fine-tune a couple of these things here. Like here, hover works, but we don't want the buttons. So now remember, we had the, what do we call the other button when we were doing the JavaScript file? We created that. We gave it a name of nested toggle. So watch what I can do. I can go to my navigation CSS and not only hide the responsive toggle, but I can also hide the nested toggle. And I better add the dot in front of it. And I'll tab that. Oops, hold on. Tab that over. So we're saying not only this responsive toggle, but the nested toggle as well. We're going to hide it at that level. And then we're going to have our hover effects take over from there. Hit refresh. And they should be gone when I'm refreshing it. They are, but the height is something awkward's going on with the height. We got some tabs or something going on. We'll have to take a look at that too. And we added these buttons here. I don't like the positioning of the buttons. And of course, I don't like the fact that they don't work. Okay, so here's, I'm going to open up the developer tool bar here for this site. And I want to show you what the issue is. I want to look at that button and where it's found. Notice inside the list item, we have a hyperlink and then we have a button. One of the things I'm thinking about doing is I'd like to have that button come before the hyperlink instead of after the hyperlink. And what I did is I did a thing where I checked this UL with a class of children and I put the button before it. I'd like to rather I put it before the hyperlink. And then what I can do is we can play around with some CSS to move it off to the side, do a little display inline block or something so that we can keep the button in line with the hyperlink, but also keep it separate from the hyperlink because I want to be able to click it for the button to toggle the nested menu, but I also need to be able to click the link itself, which is about the test. I want to be able to go to that link as well as toggle the menu. And we can't have them do both because you either got to click it to toggle or click it to go to the page. So that's kind of my solution here. So the first thing is you got to figure out where you're adding it and where you want to change it. So right now, it's this added nested toggle, and I put ul.children before. Rather, I want to target the hyperlink before. So this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to code it and then explain what I do. So let's just go ahead and do this. Instead of ul.children.before, I'm going to target the nav element, hashtag nav, space. Now I'm going to put dot page item has underscore children. And this is the list item itself. And then we're going to do this little angle bracket A. So what we're saying is this is the first child of the list item. That's the hyperlink. And before, we're going to add this button. Notice we named this nested toggle. We want to take advantage of that. Let's just see if we can move it. So if you look here now, about the test, the button comes before it. So what we're going to want to do is try to align this to the right-hand side of about the test. Let's go to the navigation CSS file. And what we want to do is we're going to take the responsive toggle, and I want to do this, actually not the responsive, the nested toggle. I'm going to add that, the BTN nested toggle. And then on here, I'm going to put a display of, that's direction, inline block. And the button, I'm going to try a width of about 10%. I only needed one dot there, so let's get rid of that. I'm going to save that. We also have to target just the hyperlink that comes immediately following the button. So let me show you how that looks. You basically target page item has children. And then we're going to do the button, which is a child of it. So when there's a button that goes inside of the list item that's a page item has children, we want to pick its immediate sibling. And that means the next tag after button only. No other hyperlinks. If we don't do this, we're going to add them to all of our hyperlinks. And now on this one, we're also going to do a display of inline block. And this time, we're going to set a width of 90%. Save our changes. Let's see if that works. Hit refresh. The menu should toggle. We toggle it back, and we're still having a little bit of an issue here. Now's a good time to bring out the developer tool and to try to target and figure out either what's going on or what can we do to sort of change that. So we have our button here, width of 10%. We can try a smaller width. But it looks like there's some issue with padding and stuff. Let's see if we can change the padding on here. I made the padding a little bit smaller, but yet still, it's not. Try a float to the right. There we go. So we float it to the right now. Now it's pretty good. I might take the padding out and see what happens there. It's a little bit too, so there's not enough width to match the padding. Let's fiddle around with the numbers here until that looks about right. We'll try a padding of 8 pixels. Looks a little awkward. You can play around with some of that padding. I think we're going to need to have a wider width than 10%. And then we're going to have to change not only the button, but we're going to have to change that hyperlink to 88%. That looks pretty good. All right, so let's go with that. So what I can do now is I can just copy this code here, copy that, Or if you're watching, you just wait until I got it figured out. Oh, we did here. This is where it was. 88%, width of 12%, and then I believe we floated it to the right. Oh, and we added the padding. And I believe I did 8 pixels, like so. Save our changes, hit refresh, hope for the best. Yep. Okay, toggle buttons don't work. All right, so we still have some more stuff we need to do. Let's go ahead and add a click. All right, well, in order to understand how we're going to get that toggle to work, you need to know a little something about the characteristic of the way that we set this up. We set it up so by default on standard view, we cannot see any of the nested lists. Those nested lists are this UL with the class of children. You will note it has a class of children. It has no class of hidden. Okay, when we hit refresh on the screen, and all that goes away, you'll notice that this UL class of children, oh, it does have a hidden, and this UL has a hidden. So we must have already added that in to this site, and that's good to know. So you want to make sure you add the class of hidden, because if you don't add it, then you need to find some other way of making it invisible. Now that I look at this page, I understand exactly what's going on. We said for every nav UL, every UL in our nav, we'll add the class of hidden. So that adds it to hide it. But when we toggle it, we want to remove it. And so we have to be a little bit careful how this works. One of the things we'll notice is on our original responsive toggle, we toggle class of the UL hidden. Well, that's going to toggle all of our classes, which you would think it would expand the remaining these ULs as well, and it doesn't seem to do that. Okay, I see what's going on. Okay, so if you look at it, when the page loads, all ULs have a class of children. And when I click on the toggle, the hidden goes away on the UL of the class of children. So the question is, why do we not see it? The reason why we don't see it is because of our CSS. So we're going to actually have to fix the CSS in our navigation. And in it, somewhere, we're hiding the UL. I found it right here. ul.children, opacity 0, height 0, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what we're going to do is, instead of that, we're going to add a dot hidden. So only when we have the dot hidden also targeted, that will be. So ul children dot hidden has an opacity of 0, height of 0. And then when it doesn't have a class of hidden, then it will be standard opacity 1, height of auto. Okay, to fix it, we're just going to add a new one here. We're just going to put ul.children, and we're not going to add the dot hidden. And so what we're going to say is, if it doesn't have hidden, we're going to have an opacity of 1 and a height of auto. Just like that. Save our changes, hit refresh. Now let's see what happens when, right now we can't see it, but I click the toggle. You'll note all the nested links have just popped open here. And so now we can see those links in here. And, but now they're not, they're showing, and they shouldn't be showing, even level 3A, 3B. Looks like we've lost some styles. We either lost it or I did something to this. Let me see if I can figure out what's going on with that. My theory is when I moved it to the later break. Here it is. I can see on the LI hover, UL children LI, we've got this padding, border, and all these other things inside. So what we need to do is set the padding and the border and the text decoration and the height for both the LI and the A. Since the whole UL will be hidden, we can actually set all of these without a hover effect and put them in the main styles. Let's see if that works. And we just pull it out of here. Notice, really, it's this hover that changes opacity and height. The rest are stylings that should be applied in mobile if we see it. And so that was after the children got hidden, and I'm just going to paste it right here. And we're going to shift tab this stuff here. Let's save our changes, hit refresh, and see if it's working now. Expand. Now everything looks pretty good. The nested links, so-so. We can maybe deal with that a little bit later. For now, I think this is okay. And now we got to work on the two things. We got to make sure that the toggle is hidden when we first load the page. And then when we click the toggle, it will then expand it. Same thing goes for here. We're running low on time. I'm going to save that for the next video, so stay tuned for that.